Hello, I'm Holt, and welcome to my custom lab. This lab is identifying unknown metals using the flame test. In the description, it says that you have 5 salts, each with a different metal. Over time, in your lab, the labels have worn off. It is your job, with the flame test, to identify each salt and replace the labels of each one, as you don't know which one is in which place. You know they're there, but you just don't know where they are. The purpose of this lab is to identify all 5 unknown metals using the flame test, with the hypothesis being the flame test will in fact identify all 5 unknown metals. The reason why I chose this lab slash type of lab is because when I was in high school, they asked, we had one day, or actually I had one day, where I didn't show up, and lo and behold, that was the day we did something like this, and I was like, are you serious? The one day we get to use the Bunsen burner, and I didn't get to use it, and I was very upset. So I thought, why not at least make the lab a similar lab for this. Alright, so the variables to consider are the physical state of each salt, which is solid. It will be independent. We will be controlling that. We won't be putting it into, like, actually dunking it into anything or etc, changing the temperature as such. But the overall temperature of the system slash room that you're doing in it slash lab. Alrighty, so material slash equipment. So we'll be having the 5 unknown salts, 5 scoopables, as it's repetitive to clean a scoopable over 4 times, a weight scale, 5 watches, the SDS sheets of the 5 unknown elements, the proper safety equipment to read the SDS sheets for each metal, a Bunsen burner, 500 milliliter distilled water, 2 500 milliliter beakers, 5 wooden splits, a lighter, a set of goggles if you're doing it by yourself, a fire blanket, a fire extinguisher, a fume hood, and a lab coat for protection. Okay, so before we begin, I'd recommend that you repeat this lab 3 times over to secure better results, as it is very easy to mess up a step causing inaccurate data. So the procedure. Step 1, read the SDS sheets of each of the salts. As we know what each salt is, we know what the 5 salts are, we just don't know what spot they are in. That we're trying to identify which ones are which. Set up the proper safety equipment, as not only will we be using salts that could potentially harm us, but we also will be using a Bunsen burner, so things like a firewall, a fire blanket, etc, etc. So, number 4, step 4, label one of the beakers as used and the other as not used. We will not be worrying about the temperature of the water, as we will not be using it in the experiment, more or less, well, in any chemical reaction, let's put it that way. Step 5, pour 250 milliliters into each beaker. Step 6, insert all 5 wooden splits into the not used beaker. This allows water to get absorbed into the wood and will help with later on in future steps of this lab. Step 7, using a clean scoopula, weighed out 2 grams of the unknown metal A into a watch. Repeat step 7 for each of the unknown salts. That's why I recommended 5 scopulas, as you don't want to clean off a scopula 5 times. That gets repetitive. Unless you only have one, then you have no. So step 8, repeat steps. My bad. Step 9. Activate the Bunsen burner using the lighter and adjust the flame till it's a light blue color. You don't want it in partial colors right off the bat, as there will be different temperatures. You want a one consistent temperature. Step 10. Remove one of the splits from the not used beaker and briefly put it into the unknown metal 8. So just briefly tap it in there. Don't slam it in and get it all over the split. You need to carry this thing. You don't want to caught on fire. And watch and wait till a small portion of the metal is /salt is on the split. So you basically put it in and wait till you get a few dabs of the metal on it. Because then once you put it into the fire, it's useless then. Step 11. Once you have the metal on the split, once you get a small portion of it, put the split now with the metal /salt into the flame of the Bunsen burner and wait for the metal to exhaust itself before putting the split into the used beaker now. So now once you put the metal /salt into the fire, it will start gleaming a color. It will start creating a color. Once it's finished, once the color goes back to a normal blue, you will then proceed to put the now burnt split into the used beaker. Step 12 is to record the color of the flame whilst the unknown metal was in the flame on the split. And the final step of this is repeat steps 10 through 12 for all of the 5 unknown metals. That way we can each get a reading for each of the metals, because we're trying to identify all 5. So this is my custom lab. I hope this helps you on your way in your chemistry journey, as this is definitely, flame test is definitely one that I would recommend for all. As I said earlier in the lab, I never actually got to do this, so it kind of made me sad when I couldn't do it. And other than that, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later.